series. It's your boy Osas. In today's episode, I want us to talk about caching and what we can do to improve our application and prevent some unnecessary database read operation. Right now, in the current state of our project, we have this channel tab screen, which shows the list of channel that, we currently belong to. And the first thing I want us to bring our attention to is let's jump into the channel tab view model and look at the logic that is responsible for fetching the data that powers the screen. So if we jump into our channel tab view model, inside of our channel tab view model, we have this fetch current user channels method, which is exactly what it does, right? It gets the channels that belong to the currently logged in user. The one thing I want to bring our attention to is this observe method right here. And so this is an active listener that is essentially going to trigger or update every single time that a new message comes into this specific user channels node. And the one thing I want to bring your attention to is, and why this is important, and same thing for this as well, right? The channels ref. So we're essentially listening to two nodes in our database, and I'll show you what those nodes are if I can jump into my Firebase console. So the first node that we're listening to is, of course, we're listening to the users channel node, right? But we're also listening to the channels node. So we're listening to this channels node right here. And anytime this information changes, because we're using the observe listener, we update and we fire and refresh our channel tab screen. So this bad boy right here on the simulator. Well, the issue with this, in my opinion, is when you jump in here, what are we actually doing to get a channel? What are we doing to essentially decode the channel data? Well, the first thing we do before we actually create a channel to display is we actually get the channel member. And the problem with this right now is there's actually a bunch of unnecessary database read operations going on for this get channel members operation, because whenever we're getting a channel, so we go get the channel that the current user belongs to, and then we get each individual channel's member. So this get channel members method, I want us to put a print statement here so you can see what I mean, or we can actually even just put a print statement right in here so you see what I mean. Let's put a print statement here and let's see what happens and how many times this get channel members method fires, and let's see what we could do to improve that. So I'm going to just go ahead and print the, user node users.counts. I think that's a good one. And let's put this right here inside of our filter. Let's run our project on the simulator and you'd see what I mean. So this get channel members method is getting called a bunch of times, and it's not necessarily optimal, especially, if we're thinking about simulating like a database, like an actual production environment. And so right now, this fires 111, right, which is good. So what happens if we jump into a chat room screen? Let's say we send a message. Pay attention. You're going to notice this get channel method actually fire again. So let's say we send a message into this QA user 27 channel. Look at that. So it fires again. What does that mean? So that means we are actually fetching this get channel members, this keyword user 27. We're going to fetch all of its channel members again. And that's not necessary if you think about it, right? And the reason it's not necessary is because we already know the channels, the members that belong to this specific channel. And so you can imagine if this is a group chat where, for example, let's say we have 10 participants, every single time we send a message inside of here, we're actually firing this get channel members again. And we're fetching those two channel members over and over again. Because remember, we're only fetching two channel members inside of this get channel method. But nevertheless, this is unoptimal because this is going to cost us a bunch of money in production because we're just doing a bunch of redundant read operation. In reality, we already know all the channel members the first time that we load this channel tab screen. So what I would like for us to do is to create some sort of an in-memory cache. In real life or in production, you probably would not even just stop at in-memory cache. You probably would also, cache your data on disk. So for example, we probably would cache some of this channel metadata into some sort of a disk. So that way we're not reloading or we're not refreshing this data from our backend. And these are some of the, the little tricks that actual large-scale applications would use to, make their applications much more performance. So let's go ahead and write a little bit of a simple logic that's going to help us, prevent this get channel members from firing unnecessarily. So essentially what we want is we want this get channel members to only fire once for each individual channel the first time that this channel tab screen loads up. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to check if we already have if for each individual channel, so right here where we're saying get channel, before we go get the channel member, let us check if we already have the channel members. So let's check if we already know the members of this channel, before we go try to fetch it again. And this is essentially the entire point of caching, right? We're trying to reduce redundant read operations. And the way we're going to do this is going to be pretty simple. And, we know that we have a channel dictionary right here. And the channel dictionary, if we command and jump into it, is just a key value pair. The channel ID is a string and the channel item, is the channel object. And if we jump into our channel item, we know our channel items store the members data. So we can just check the members property to see if it has any data before we bother trying to go, get that channel member again. And so I'm just going to say if let, and because this is in memory, because this is for the instance of our application. So what I mean is when we run this application, this is an instance, right? The minute we close the application, we're going to go ahead and clear off that cache because, we're not storing it on disk. We're not actually persisting it. And like I said, in production environment, you probably would even go ahead and persist this into disk. But for this, let's just do a basic in-memory cache. So I'm going to say in-memory cached channel. I think that's a pretty good name. And I'm just going to say self, the channel dictionary. So now I want to go check each channel that already exists inside of this channel dictionary. So remember, we're fetching the channel that belongs to the current user. And for each of those individual channel, we're trying to get the channel member. So here, I'm just going to check for each specific channel using their channel ID. I want to check if that channel already has members. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to say, so memory cache channel dot members, because remember, we have the members property and we already appending the first time we load up the channel tab screen, we already append the first two members in that channel inside of this get channel method. So we could just check if this is empty. So I'm going to say if this is not empty, so I'm going to put the inverse operator up here, the bang operator. So I'm just saying if the channel, if this specific channel that we're getting, that we just get from inside of this channel's ref, if we already have the members for it, we don't need to refetch it, right? If not, if it's not empty, well, if it is empty, if this, memory cache members, if it is empty indeed, then we're just going to go ahead and actually refetch, we're just going to actually get the channel members. So I'm going to copy this and I think let's paste this. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to, let's go ahead and copy this and let's paste this here inside of this S block. And in here, let's just go ahead. So we need to get all of this data operation right here. So I'm going to copy this and paste this here. And it's probably going to get us because we don't have members here because we're only getting the members from this callback. And so what do we need to do for this channel? How do we know this members? Well, we're just going to say this memory cache channel, because remember, this is the channel that we already know the members. And we're just going to say those members is equals to this channel members. Okay, and the unread count is going to remain the same as the unread count that we're getting from here. And let me see, what else do we need to do? We don't need to append the current user anymore because generally speaking, we would already do that. So I'm going to put a documentation here. I'm going to say this is the initial fetch, right? And this is, consequent fetches. I don't know if that's even a good name or just later fetches. So we already have this, and I think that looks pretty good. The one thing I would like for us to do is let's put a print statement in this so you see what I mean, and let's see which one fires and when. So I'm just going to say, let's see, I'm going to say channel members gotten from cache here, and then here I'm going to say channel members gotten from, let's see, channel member gotten fetched from database, okay? And let's just say channel.members, and let's map it, and let's just get the username, $0.username, and I'm going to copy this and paste this right here, and let us go ahead and paste this channel right here as our filter. And let's also put this as, let me put this channel right in front of here so I see when this actually fires. I'm going to go right ahead and clear everything. And actually, let me use an emoji, guys, because it's just going to be easier for us to filter for this. And let's put it like a broadcast, or no, maybe a microphone icon is okay. And where is that? I don't want it there. I want it right here. There we go. There we go. And I want it right in here as well. So now I'm going to go use that emoji right here. Let's go ahead and run our project. And you see what I mean now, because now this, get channel member is not going to fire a bunch of times. It's only going to fire when it needs to fire. So let's jump into here. This is the only time we want it to fire, right? We want it to fire the first time we load up the channel tab screen. We actually want to get the channel members, right? But for example, if we go into a channel, if someone sends us a message now, we don't really want it to fire again. We don't really want to go get the channel members again because we already know the channel members. And so let's see right here, it says, channel members fetch from database, which makes sense, right? All of this is from database. Okay, so what happens if we send a message into, let's say, let's jump into here, the second simulator. Let's send a message into that's the fam, and let's see if it prints that it got the message from the cache or if it got the channel members from the cache. So let's just say, aha, hit that send button, and look at that. It says channel members fetched from cache, and it shows the channel member names. And just a simple, it looks very simple and it's obvious, but these are the silly little things that, a lot of young or new developers forget to account for when you're building with Firebase, because whenever you're using this observe method, you always want to think about what is the redundant data that I don't want to fetch over and over again, and is there any way I can cache that data either in memory or on disk just to save myself a bunch of database read operation. So that's pretty much it for what I wanted us to clean up pretty quickly today. Something else I want to bring our attention to is, so let's see. So right now, inside of our fetch current users method, fetch current user channels method, we're just getting all the channels that belong to the currently logged in user. And honestly, there's no need for that. In real life, I probably would just limit this to the last. So let's see, I'm just going to limit it to the last, let's say something like 15 or 12. And let's just say 12, right? Because most people are probably not even going to have more than about a dozen, channels inside of their channel tab screen. And, that just because, for example, if you have a massive data sets, if there's always going to be that anomaly user, right? If you have that massive data sets, there's no reason for you to have this be observing all of the data in the user channels ref. And so this is going to save us a bunch of database read operations as well. And honestly, you can also paginate this logic if you want, but it's pretty simple. Just follow what we did in the users pagination and the messages pagination modules. And I'm sure you're going to be able to replicate pagination for this. But just we, combining those two things, we're going to save ourselves a bunch of database read operations that we don't necessarily need. And I think this is pretty awesome because now we're no longer going to be getting this, channel members unnecessarily. We're only going to get it the first time. So let me clear this out so it gets it the first time. And now if we send in a new message again, and the consequent messages are being gotten from the cache. And by cache, we're just referring to that initial fetch, because when we fetch it the first time, again, just to reiterate, remember the first time that channel tab screen shows up, we're storing all of the channels in this channel dictionary. So the channel dictionary already knows its channel members, and there's no need for us to fetch it over and over again. And that's pretty much it for this episode, guys. The one thing I also want us to actually just do really quickly before we round off this episode. So in the completed version of our project, we actually have this channel status, or this update status screen. Let's go right ahead and actually build that out pretty quickly. And I'm just going to make this pretty simple. I'm just going to Command Shift and O, and I'm just going to jump into this updates tab screen. Let's see. So I'm going to kill the simulator. And what do we want to do in this updates tab screen? Well, I'm going to pass in the currently logged in user, and I'm going to use that to power. So let's see. Let me scroll the way up here. Let's wait for the SwiftUI preview. I would like for us to show like the currently logged in user in this bad boy right here. And so, for example, I'd like to have the currently logged in user, currently logged in username. And so let's change a couple of things here pretty quickly. So again, the first thing we need to ask for is I'm just going to ask for the current user. And we know we can get this because we're already going to be in the authenticated state whenever this update tab screen is visible. So I'm going to take this current user now, and the SwiftUI preview should yell at us. Let's go ahead and fix that bad boy by using the placeholder. Okay. And now I'm going to scroll all the way back up here. Let's see, where is our current user? So this says my status, add my status. So I'm going to change this to circular profile image view. Circular profile image view. And now, actually, before we do that, let's do one thing at a time. So let's see. Let's do this Joseph Smith one. Where is it? It's been a minute since I've been inside of this file. We probably could refactor some of these things, but there's no need. So I'm going to ask for the current user here as well. And this is going to be a user item. So let's, use dependency injection to pass that in here. So I'm going to change this to username. And the time, I'm just going to leave the time as, 1 hour ago. It doesn't really matter. And this should yell at us up here. So let's go fix that. And we're going to pass in that user, current user that we're getting right here as well. And the next thing I want us to do is where we just did. So here, where is it? Joseph Smith. Let's replace this now for real with the actual, circular profile image view. Because remember, circular profile image view takes in a profile image URL. We could just use the current user, the profile image URL, and size. Let's give it something like 55, because I think that was the image dimension anyways. Let me see. Yeah, let's just give it something like 55. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of this bad boy. And actually, we need to change this to custom. So custom and 55. And this should yell at us inside of our main tab view. So let's jump into our main tab view and fix this really quickly. So this is the update tab screen. I'm just going to command fix, pass in the current user that we already have in the update, in the main tab view, and everything should be Gucci, guys. Let's go ahead and refresh this bad boy. Let's see what's going on. And let's try to flush this out pretty quickly so we can wrap up this episode. And right now we have OSAS, that's the placeholder image. Let's go change this to my status as well. Let's see, where do we have my status? It's right up here. So I'm just going to copy this. We want the current user here as well inside of the status section. And I'm just going to pass it in here. And I'm going to replace this with the circular profile image view as well. Honestly, I'm lazy. I'm just going to copy this bad boy and replace all of this circle and all of this cool stuff we have here. Paste it right there. And that should look pretty good. It should yell at us up here. So let's go all the way up here. Let's click on this. Let's fix it. Let's pass in the current user as well. And let's see what that looks like. That should refresh anytime soon. That looks pretty good to me, guys. The last bit is I want us to fix this as well. And I'm going to be using stub data for this. I'm not really going to be building this public channels functionality. We're just going to be building the UI, and using a bunch of stub data to make it look good. So that looks pretty good, guys. Look at that. So if we change this from QA user, let's say we change this to like the photo of General Grievous. Let's see, it updates. If we jump to our update status screen, look at that, guys. That looks pretty. Now, let's go ahead and actually power this with dummy data. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to just jump in here. I'm going to actually create a channel. So in the completed version of the project, I have this struct called public channel. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy this code. I'm going to share with you guys in the comment section or on GitHub. And what we want to do is we want to create a public channel. So let's go into our screens. And let's see, we want to go into our updates. And we have a view. Let's create a new folder. And let's call it, models. And let's create a public channel. I'm going to do new file, Swift file, and I'm just going to call it public channel. I think we call it public channel. I think I called it public channel item in the completed version of the project. I did. So I'm just going to say public channel item, and this is going to be responsible for passing or like for powering those bad boys. I'm going to paste it right here. It's pretty intuitive. It's just going to have an image URL. It's going to have a title and the ID for identifiable, which is a computer property. And then I have the stub data right here, which I'm going to use to power these bad boys. Like I said, let me jump to the simulator. It's going to be used to power these bad boys right here. So I'm going to provide this, this public where is it again? This public channel item, guys. Don't worry. It's pretty simple code. Let's go ahead and actually use this to power our updates tab screen. So I'm going to kill the simulator. Let's refresh this bad boy. Where's the update tab screen? And we have this channel list view. So I'm going to command and jump into it. So it's right here. So in here, we have this for each. Instead of using this for each, I'm just going to replace this with the public channel item dot placeholders. So I have the static property right here, which is called placeholders. So inside of my channel list view, I'm going to replace that with a placeholder. And let me just pass in the channel right here. And now instead of my suggested channel item view, I'm going to command and jump into that bad boy. It's actually just right below it. Perfect. I'm going to request for that channel. And remember, this is a public channel now. This is not the regular channel item. This is public channel item. And I'm going to use this to pass the name. So instead of just, Real Madrid FC, I'm going to replace this with channel dot, I think I called it title. And then for the image URL, I'm going to replace this with a circular profile image URL as well. And it's going to ask for a profile image URL. It's just going to be channel dot, I think I called it image URL. That's the property. I'm going to use a custom size, pass in 55. And this suggested channel item view should yell at us. Let's go ahead and fix that bad boy. Pass in this channel that we're getting from our for each. Let us refresh our SwiftUI preview, and we should have something that's looking decently presentable. So we're waiting for the SwiftUI preview to do its thing, and look at that, guys. We have this beauty right here. Obviously, there's all kinds of issues going on here. The sizing is incorrect, so let's go ahead and fix it one at a time. So instead of our channel list view, let's see, what are we doing wrong here? We have our scroll view. Let's see, what are we doing wrong here, guys? Let me jump into, channel. So just the channel view. We need to fix this. So the channel title, I'm going to put a line limit of 1. And let's make it bold, perhaps. Doesn't even matter. I mean, this is just like for style, and sure, bold. We need to fix that frame, right? We need to give it like a max width. And I'm just going to scroll up here. Let's see, the suggested channel item. I'm just going to scroll up here, give it a max width, or just a width. It doesn't even have to be max width because I want it to be constant. Max width of like 150. And there we go. That looks more like it. Yep. It's going to truncate, and that looks pretty good to me, guys. So that's pretty much the bulk of the work that I'm going to be doing on this update screen. This is already a very, very long series. And yeah, we just could not replicate every single feature in WhatsApp. As you can imagine, it's a pretty massive and robust application. So yeah, we have this beautiful looking, this public channels. It looks pretty good. I'm sure you could use this to demo. And we're still going to build this call screen, guys, but I think that's it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to go right ahead and actually build out our video calling and voice calling functionality. I know I saved the best for last. I hope you guys are excited for that. We're going to be able to click on this, video recorder button or this video calling button and present a video calling functionality. And likewise for the voice calling as well. And we're also going to be handling VoIP push notification, guys. All of this is going to be powered by WebRTC, but specifically we're going to be using StreamSDK to help us, build out this functionality, which is pretty cool, guys. So if this is what you're excited for, if this is what you joined this project for, get excited because we're going to get into that. And those, the next 2 or 3 episodes is going to wrap up the series, and we're going to have all that we have at the beginning demo. So thank you very much. As always, guys, I appreciate the love and support. Please like and subscribe, guys. I mean, trust me, when I see that extra 5 likes on the video, it gets me excited. It keeps me going. So like and subscribe, share it on your LinkedIn profile, share it on your Twitter profile. It means the world to me. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.